Welcome to the Better Together podcast, where we look for ways we can work together to advance the gospel of Jesus Christ. Today we have with us Dr. Tim York. He is the moderator of the National Association of Free Will Baptists. He also works with many of our churches as a coach and many of our pastors in churches, and he also works with the Shepherding Initiative, churches that do not have pastors, and is pastoring himself right now two churches. One is the Rejoice Church in Antioch, and the other is the Grove in Smyrna. So, Dr. York, thank you for taking the time to come back to be with us today.
My joy to be here.
Hey, you work with a lot of churches and talk to them about a lot of the resources that we offer. And maybe someone's listening and they're thinking, I would like to do just a better job, just be more effective at actually praying for my neighbor. I know that's something that you have done personally as a pastor and also talked to our churches about. Share with them some of the resources that are available for that.
Well, the Bless app is probably one of the most valuable things we've ever done, especially for the Grove Church. And we're in a very fast-growing community, a lot of new families moving in. And so we tried to figure out a way that we could reach them at contact. The Bless app really helped us because our people, they're getting these 5 names every day and they're able to pray. You sign up, it's free. What we did extra, though, is we take cards with our church name on them, postcard, and on the backside, one of our people will write a note that says, "We prayed for you on this day," and we put a stamp on it, put it in the mail, and we've actually had people attend church who were a part of that. But it also teaches you to pray for the people that you live the closest to. Your neighbor, the people you walk with in the evening, or someone you see out on Saturday that's working in their yard. All of a sudden, you begin to know their name, you begin to understand a little bit of their habits, and it really does give you a spiritual perspective on how to use your neighborhood as an outreach place.
That's great. So you're like, I'm sold. I want to use the Bless app. If you're part of the National Association of Free Will Baptists, you can do so free of charge. Go to NAFWB.org/bless. And if they sign up their church, they can keep up with the number of prayers they pray.
Yes, and that's a wonderful way of knowing that you're actually actively doing something. I'll tell you a quick story. I had a neighbor, that young couple move in. They worked. Hard to catch up with them. We never got to know them because I'm gone a lot. They're gone a lot. And so I'm eating lunch at a lunch club that I belong to. And this guy and I have eaten lunch together for several months. And he asked me where I live and I asked him where he lived. And he goes, "Well, my nephew's your neighbor. Come find out, it's the guy I've been trying to meet." And the guy was in the dinner club with us, but we had no idea we knew each other. And so now we've built this solid relationship in the neighborhood where before we wouldn't have known each other or maybe waved at each other. But like Saturday, we were at an event in town and they came up and they're very friendly. And so, and they don't go to church. We're building relationships for that moment when we get a chance to share the gospel.
Wow.
But Prayer app brings all that into place, the Bless app.
Wow. So we encourage you to take that and use that and maybe even run the Bless app off the neighbors around your church, which you can be regularly praying for them. And it's just a wonderful intervention. There's a study there also that you could download, nafwb.org/bless study, where you can go through a 6-week study using Ferguson and Ferguson's book called Bless, where you can learn how to try to pray for your neighbor, listen to your neighbor, eat with your neighbor, let them share their story, and you share your story about what Jesus has done for you. Now, we didn't automatically find the Bless app, did we?
No.
So our listeners may say, how'd you find this wonderful app? Well, there's something called the Hope Initiative, where people pray for their neighbors, and they're like, well, hey, I'm praying for my neighbor, but I don't know who they are. You've done the Hope Initiative, and I believe we're part of the development of the Hope Initiative that we did with Church Answers. What is the Hope Initiative?
The Hope Initiative is 30 days of intense Bible reading, praying. And I say intense, it doesn't take long, but it grabs the conscience and the heart of the reader. And you take 30 days, and as you read through, you begin to see this need to be outwardly focused and not inwardly focused. And I would say this, many of our churches that I'm working with, their greatest battle is they are inwardly focused. They're concerned if they're going to survive the next 5 years or next year, and they won't because they're focused on that.
Yeah.
You've got to focus to the community. You've got to focus outwardly. And one of the beautiful things about the Hope Initiative is it gives hope. It takes you, I had people sending me texts going, Pastor, I feel guilty. I haven't reached out to my community like I needed to, or I haven't prayed for you as part of that. It really did. It impacted both churches. And so what we try to do is once a year take another group through that. And some people are taking refresher courses.
Yeah.
Because, like everything, you begin to, but it taught us, here's what it really teaches, I think. You don't go to the grocery store to buy groceries. You go to the grocery store to meet people. Now you buy groceries while you're there.
Right.
Or go to the convenience store to buy gas. I don't go there to buy gas. I go there to meet people. But at the same hand, while I'm there, I buy my gas. You'll be amazed everywhere you go. If you begin to think about, I'm not here to do this. I'm here to do this. And I'll do that while I'm here. You can't do that with, your ears plugged up with AirPods and your list in front of you and you're checking it off and flying through. You got to be intentional.
Yeah.
And let the Lord speak to you. But God will open doors of great conversation.
So you said it's not that demanding. In other words, it's like 20 minutes or less a day for 30 days.
Yes.
And we've looked at it. If you have 30 people in your church to go through the Hope Initiative in a year, you've made almost 2,000 evangelistic touch points, primarily praying in front of people's homes.
Evangelism is different in our culture versus 25 years ago. 25 years ago, I knocked on doors. Now, it works in some communities yet, but it's a real struggle. Matter of fact, we did Pray and Go at the Grove and got the police call. And the policeman showed up and goes, "Are you soliciting chaplain?" I go, "No, I'm not soliciting. I'm praying for people. I'm putting a door hanger up." And he said, "Well, will you pray for me?" And so we gathered in his cruiser and prayed. And I learned later, we just happened to be praying in front of the house that reported us for the police officer. That was kind of a neat moment.
Yeah.
But it's learning to reach out. And those people that come to church on Sunday and they leave and they never get involved? There's a reason. They don't understand the need to focus. Now, we can preach on them, we can yell at them, we can talk about them, but we're never going to get them engaged. Mm-hmm. But you get them in 30 days of intense reading, studying. You're sending them a text every day, which is provided. Keep in contact. It will revolutionize a lot of people. It will bring. It's the greatest revival tool I think we have.
Yeah.
And we don't use it as valuable as we could.
That's great. And you want to learn more about this, go to NAFWB.org/hope. And there's a place where you can learn more about the Hope Initiative and engage in it. A lot of the churches we work with, the communities have really changed a lot. It's a whole different place than it was 5, 10, 20 years ago. What can a church do to learn more about its community?
Well, there's no doubt, Know Your Community that the National Office offers is probably the great tool for learning who you're supposed to be ministering to. See, a lot of times we're building churches, activities for people that don't exist anymore. They're gone. They don't live in our neighborhoods. And one of the things we learned, like at Rejoice, we did the Rejoice one. Did you remember? 70% of our community is Spanish. So why is the Spanish church that we have there thriving? Because that's where the people are.
Yeah.
Nigerians thriving. How? Because that's where. And English struggling. Why? Because again, there's not as many English folks. Now there are English neighborhoods that we're working with, but you see the demographics. Sometimes I tell churches, you're trying to reach young people when they don't live in your neighborhood. They're not there. You're doing all this VBS work, and there's nobody coming. Why? Well, there's no kids. Now, at the Grove, we learned that the average age is 38. They got 2.5 kids. I'd hate to be that happy. But, we learned a lot of things about what they eat, what they don't eat, why we struggled sometimes to reach people because same-sex marriage couples live there and they're anti-church in some ways or anti our type of view of church. And we learned in our community outreaches, we're beginning to build relationships with people that wouldn't agree with us, but we're building relationships for the opportunity to share the gospel with them. I think Know Your Community provides all of this material. If you're in a community and the average age is 60 or above, turn your fellowship hall into a senior citizens hall, meeting place. Have board games there. Have the coffee pot on. Serve a lunch every few days. A lot of elderly folks are going hungry. They can't cook, and you could provide a ministry that will explode. And by the way, who's the nearest to eternity by age? Older folks, seniors. And so I said, well, they don't live long. Well, teenagers move off. Yeah. You spend a lot of money on a youth group, and over the years, I've not kept many. They've moved off on me. But, buddy, you get some seniors. There's some active seniors out there. They live long lives. They enjoy the church. It depends on where you're at. So learn your community. I get this question a lot from churches. What does the average Free Will Baptist pastor make? Well, there is no answer. I tell them, do know your community.
Yep.
Look at the average salary in your community and go above it because you realize he didn't live there all these years. He's got to move in. But you do get the opportunity to help them. It gives you that kind of information as well. If you're doing an outreach dinner, what they like to eat, what they don't like to eat. Know their politics because you don't want to offend. You want to try to reach them. Doesn't mean you don't stand for Christian principles. Doesn't mean you stand for biblical principles. What it means is you reach them first and then teach them as you go along. And so there's a good opportunities there. Know your community will strengthen the church in many ways.
So you can learn more about Know Your Community at nafwb.org/know. It's offered in conjunction with Church Answers, who develops a report. And if they do it, we'll provide a feedback session where we'll go through these results, help them unpack it.
The most valuable part of that is going through it.
To know it.
To know it, because you can't take it and read it.
Yeah.
I've got it. I've been through it. But that hour with you transforms how it works.
It's just a way of looking what interventions work based on where you're at. And like you said, so many of our churches are in communities where the number one demographic group is 60 to 64. Well, that explains why you are having trouble sometimes reaching kids. So
and take them on offer a senior trip, a day trip. Load that bus instead of with kids, load it with old folks. You may have a hard time getting them on there, but you'll get them on there. Take them somewhere. You'll be amazed what that'll do.
So some of our Know Your Community reports, we're learning there's a high number of depressed people, sometimes a high number of widows, and even what are sometimes talked about like children, single parents, and so forth, a lot of divorced folks, a lot of hurting people in some of our communities.
You see, that gives you the outreach. We have a chart in one of our offices where when we did the Know Your Community, we got together for 2 Sunday nights and we just brainstormed how we could transform and reach them. And some of it we've been able to do, some of it we haven't been able to do yet. And so what we're looking at is how do you build ministries, not what the church in the street does or not what somebody wrote in the book somewhere else. But how can I take what my community needs and begin to do outreach? For instance, if you're in a really strong drug abuse community, do outreach to drug addicts. Yeah. They need Jesus. Their lives can be transformed. If you're with single parents, you'd be amazed at what a night out would do. We just do free child care with understanding all the safeties. One of the great events we did at the Grove some time ago, we haven't done it for a couple of years, on Valentine's night, is we did free babysitting. And couples brought their kids. They went out for dinner and they came back, and everybody was happy. The kids were happy, and they got, we did all kinds of activities. There's all kinds of ways, but you got to know what your community looks like. And many of our churches, I'm noticing, they drive into the church from another community, so they really don't know what that community really looks like. This helps us be able to do that in a different way.
And our responsibility is right around that community. So God's put our church there for a particular reason.
Yes, it's not by accident.
Now, I'm listening to this, I'm thinking, wow, there's a lot of good resources that are available and that are out there. But where do I start? Where do I go? Well, we do have coaching that's available to churches, and if pastors are listening, available to pastors as well. They could utilize those resources.
We have folks who are experienced, who use the tools, who have pastored a long time. Some of them are retired now, but they understand the value of what we're doing, how to do it. Sometimes coaching really is not like a coach yelling plays. It's more like somebody talking to you so you can talk through something. It's amazing when you talk through something and quit talking to yourself and thinking in your own head how much broader something can become, or how much more narrow it can become to help you articulate. And I'll have ideas when I meet with my staff. We go through them. I go, y'all just destroyed my idea, but I like your idea better. So we move forward.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of opportunities there, and that's what coaching will do as well. Plus, there's resources. As a pastor, there are hundreds, the size of your church, sometimes thousands, of pieces of mail go across our desk of people with all kinds of ideas about how to do church. Everything from cleaning the church to outreach, discipleship, on and on it goes. But the one thing you know about our material and our coaches, they know the material and they can help you so you don't have to spend all the money or time in something that won't work for you.
So you're listening, you're like, wow, I could really benefit from that. We're going to encourage you to email us at questions@nafwb.org and then put in the subject line coaching. And we're going to suggest you start with the Know Your Community. However, if you go ahead and say, this is what we're interested in coaching, we would have that coach on the feedback session when we provide those resources to you and just really speed that process along. So we encourage you to take advantage of the tools that God has given us.
Absolutely.
I think, Brother Tim, a lot about Paul in 1 Corinthians 9. He says, I've become all things for all people so that I might by all means save some. Really, what you've shared with us today is there's resources. I need to know my community. I need to know what the people are like around me, but there's resources to go after and reach the weak, or to reach the Gentile, or maybe the Judaizer that Paul was talking about. Sometimes we need somebody to come along and help us, and we're not doing that alone. There's value in the multitude of counselors, and that's what coaches provide, but we really don't have to do this alone, do we?
No, you remember in Acts, when Paul got ready to go on his second missionary journey, he says, I'm going to go and strengthen the churches. Mm-hmm. Somewhere along the way, we got the idea, once you start a church, it doesn't need strengthening anymore. It just kind of takes off and lives on its own. Well, that's not true. Yeah. Our churches are struggling. We can help strengthen the church. I say this everywhere I go, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I'm 64 years old. I've lived a while now. I've been preaching for the last 52 years. I've been in Free Will Baptist this whole time. I've seen this in our good, our bad, and our ugly. But at the end of the day, I've never seen a moment in Free Will Baptist where all of our directors, all of our boards, all of our ministries are all there pulling to help the local church. Now, this is our moment to take advantage of that. If you're a church, make sure your pastor is in the board of retirement. Make sure that Richland Avenue is a part of that. I called board of retirement the first time. Richland Avenue is a part of that. That's in my mind. Will be for years. If you're really want to strengthen your church, use D6 material. I go to churches sometimes and I see all kinds of missionaries and our missionaries. We got missionaries, both for the I am and AM. Our colleges, Welch could use your students. There's all kinds of opportunities for our movement, our women's movement, our men's movement, our foundation. All those things are a part to help us. Our executive office, though, has spearheaded, and I will tell you, Brother Mooney, I'm so thankful for your leadership in helping bring so much material and value to the local church, because we don't have those. We don't have anything. So I want your audience to know we are better together. You're helping us prove that, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate you and what you're doing. And hey, we'll just keep on doing it, and we want you to keep on doing it with us, because we need that person in the local church. We need that pastor. We need all of us pulling together. We'll never be what we're supposed to be until we're all coming together, working together. So, Brother Tim, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us and sharing some great resources and information with us today. We appreciate you greatly.
Thank you. Joy to be here.
We thank you. Please take this podcast, share it with someone that would benefit from it. Remember, as Brother Tim said, we truly are better together. We accomplish so much more when we work together. May God be with you and bless you.